Hello, I'm Mark,
I'm Stef.
and welcome to the all new, all different Geeks Unleashed. Unfortunately, at a slightly different time, we had some technical issues the last few days, but we have ironed them out, and we're all good to go now.
We're here.
Yeah, we're here. We're alive. We're kicking. So, look, before we get started, if you are watching live currently on YouTube, we appreciate it, especially considering the last few days. Please remember to like, subscribe, etc. Join in the conversation. Also, if you are listening on your favorite podcast platform, please again like, subscribe, etc. And on Spotify, you can leave comments on the episode as well and join in. We do have a Kofi. The links can be found around, so please feel free to donate if you would like. So, yeah, appreciate anyone who is watching us live, and we can see a former cast member. Yeah, man. Oh,
I was having I'm having connection issues, but I'm here.
oh yeah, that's good. Yeah. Jasmine is in the chat. So hello, Jasmine. I don't normally do the shout outs, but yeah, we'll allow this one. So, right, yeah. Anyway, have you had a good week? I know it's the new week now, but a good weekend.
Yeah. Kind of. It seems. I mean that is time, but it seems like it bled. I was like, what weekend? But it seems like it just kind of bled over to the next week. But yeah, it was a good. You know what? Actually, you know why? There's a good reason it probably bled over. We'll say I don't want to spoil too much into the next segue, but I recently re-signed up for PlayStation Plus.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I'll save it for what we would. Yeah. No, I know what you mean. So, but do you know what? To be the geek that we are, I've been looking into iPods, and there seems to be this whole market of people that customize old iPod classics and retrofit them with SD cards and take out some bits and pieces inside them and can add USB-C rather than the old Firewire cable things, that big thing, and also they can add Bluetooth to them, and so you can spend anything from like 50 quid to a couple £100 to get these cool updates on the iPod.
Right.
So I've been considering getting one. I quite like the idea of having all my music on me like I used to years ago, and then using Bluetooth headphones. It would be cool to use these Bluetooth headphones with an iPod. I just think how cool would that be?
Back, yeah. We're bringing back analog technology.
Yeah. Oh, honestly, I keep talking about when my mobile phone contract ends. I keep saying I'm seriously considering going back to like a Nokia or something.
Yeah.
So
limit the connectivity. I think that is the one, because we've talked about this many times, but it's one of the bigger issues. It's like the phones became mini laptops. The phone is a computer. I think like 20 years ago, seeing a cell phone, the state that they're in, like a smartphone, the state it's in now, would have blown my mind. Like a 17-year-old me, where we were in the world of technology, how quickly we become acclimated to that, where it's just like, it's just an everyday thing, it's cool, but at the same time, I think that's because we've been overloaded with so much, and we gotta disconnect, go back to the analog technology. I'm with you on that, though. I've been kind of trying to, I told you I've trying to limit like streaming on weekends when my kiddo's over. That's like cutting back on a lot of time. Technology's everywhere, but trying not to be so on my phone and tablet or social media as much on the weekends, at least. It's a struggle, but
I find I don't smoke, but I know you do smoke, but I find when your hands get twitchy for your phone. So I was watching something on my phone earlier when my daughter was playing football earlier this evening. She was doing football practice, and I was really hungry. So I just walked up to the high street and grabbed a burger, and I said to them, "Do you mind if I sit down while I eat?" Because it was one of these takeaway places, but they had a couple of seats, and they went, "Yeah, it's fine." So I sat down and put the mobile phone on, and I put my headphones in, and I was watching something on Netflix, but then I found my hands wanted to play with something, but obviously it couldn't because I was watching something on my phone, so I couldn't. And I just thought, this is
Can't
just
click on some
silly.
shit.
Yeah, I can't
Yeah.
click on something. I can't,
Mhm.
And when I'm at home and if I feel I'm getting like that, I deliberately put my phone on the other side of the room if I'm watching a film or something. So
That's smart.
yeah,
That's a good way to nip it in the bud.
what I've seen is that Nokia have got phones that are pretty much dumb phones but have WhatsApp on. And that I could get into if I could find something that had WhatsApp on. My ideal phone would be WhatsApp, Google Maps, and maybe Spotify. Like that would be it. Just take away everything else, and those three things would be fine. So
I'm not gonna lie, I think I'm too much of a slave to technology at this point to go back to a Nokia.
but
I
that's why if I
commend
could
that.
have the iPod, if I could have the iPod that had all the music, because the thing with the iPod as well, you can put videos on there, so that would be cool.
Okay.
Yeah. So even the old,
Okay.
even the old
Yeah, I need
iPod,
visuals. That
even the old iPod, you could watch videos on.
Yeah. The later the not the initial models, right? Just like the later models.
Yeah, the later models,
Okay.
or the more recent iPod Classic.
Man, I'm even thinking of, but now you got me thinking of like the ads they used to. I don't know, man. I guess it's like because it's like I remember thinking the 90s were lame as shit at certain point, and I was like, okay, I grew up in the 90s, but now it's like 90s are cool as shit to me. It's like every year, it's like then I was like, there's no way the 2000s are gonna be cool, and it's like I'm thinking of like the iPod as they used to run with like the colorful backgrounds and the silhouettes of like people dancing with the
Oh yeah,
iPod.
yeah.
We don't have shit like that anymore.
No,
Like
no.
advertising's gone out the window.
They tried to claim that they couldn't make them anymore because they couldn't get the chips. It was nothing to do with that. They wanted to push everyone down the Apple Music subscription thing. That was what it was.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't want to find the chips, so it was nothing to do with that. Anyway, right, let's move into this week's geek news.
All right.
I know there's a few things that Steph's lined up, but there's one big one for me. This is something that I personally have been waiting for a long time. I've even spoken to some of the people behind the franchise. I actually bravely messaged one of them earlier this year on X Twitter. And we started DMing each other about it, and like he was just like, I love that you have a passion for the show. And I was like, this show's got to come back, and
This must be a show no one's seen then, huh?
No.
I'm just kidding.
This is a huge franchise. Right, you ready?
Yes.
Welcome, everyone. We have a very special Stargate announcement.
This has been a very hard secret to keep for the last 18 months, but we can announce today that a brand new Stargate series is coming to Prime Video.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's so rare for the original creators to get to work on the new version of a show. This is a show for everyone, everywhere.
We're going to be able to do things that we could not do in 1997. I strongly feel
Amazon
that the
budget
fans will watch this show and say, this is Stargate.
In that 25-year span, their enthusiasm for Stargate has never waned.
The one question that I think so many fans are asking, is this going to be a reboot?
It is not a reboot. It's its own unique chapter in the Stargate universe. So, of course, we're making the show for the fans, of course, but we're also making it for people that have never watched Stargate and potentially don't have a sci-fi franchise they even like. For us, it's really important that a brand new audience can come in, and then if they love it, then they can go back and watch everything else. But we're back. It's happening. It's going to be incredible.
This has been a group of people who has always been there for the fans and not cut them out of the process.
Thank you for bringing this straight to the fans. And I think I can speak for fandom. Thank you for Stargate in the future as well.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, we'll talk soon.
Have you ever watched Stargate or any of it?
Yeah. I actually just I said it. I couldn't
quite hear what you said.
But I rewatched the movie on YouTube like 2 days ago. The one with Kurt Russell, James Spader. Yeah.
Did you ever watch any of the TV series?
Yeah, I've seen. I didn't see. I think it was like the later series. They did like something. I was looking up on it. They did something like 6 years ago. I didn't even hear about that until now.
Stargate Universe.
It was like
no. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, about 6 years ago they did a one-off They did a one-off series where it was all shorter episodes, like 10-minute episodes.
Yeah.
And I watched the first few, but I didn't bother with it. So, but I watched all of the original run. I've
seen the show, the original show. I haven't seen all of it, but I've seen that, and then Atlantis. Because the show was called Universe, right? Or was that a spinoff?
So there was Stargate SG-1.
Okay,
which ran for 10 seasons.
That's
and then
the
there
one
was,
dude.
There was one with Richard Dean Anderson, who was in it for, I think, the first 7 seasons.
Is that MacGyver?
No, that was MacGyver. Okay. Yeah, that's MacGyver. And they actually, in the pilot episode, they make a dig about MacGyver in it. So
I'm gonna rewatch all that. That's been something I was gonna, because I was looking at it at the I was like, wow, like it was like one of the stronger shows for sci-fi for a good minute. You know,
it was a huge sci-fi show.
How the shows spun off of each other, and when they were premiering, they were like,
it was one of their biggest shows at the time. And then they span off Atlantis, I think during, I want to say season 6 or something, 7, something like that. And Atlantis ran for 5 seasons, and I think it went on. So I think season 10 of SG-1, and then there was 2 more of Atlantis. So it must have been season 7, yeah. So they built it in as like a backdoor at the end of season 6, and then 7, 8, and 9 of Stargate ran in parallel with Atlantis, which for the first 3 seasons. And then you had 2 more of Atlantis, and then they ended Atlantis, and then they launched Stargate Universe, which only ran for 2 seasons. And Stargate Universe was actually my favorite out of all of them. So I know that you're
second one.
That's the second spin-off.
Okay.
I know that you're a big fan of the rebooted Battlestar Galactica.
Yes, sir.
And they asked for the new Stargate to have the same vibe as that. And so the SG-1 and Atlantis had a much more cheesy feel about it, but Universe had a much more grounded, realistic feel. So a lot of people didn't really gel with the new Universe series.
You kind of got used to the camp of the
which
is, I mean, the movie, I guess, is a good balance of that, because it's like it depends on who you show it to, I guess, because I feel like there is an air of camp to it, even though it does kind of take itself seriously.
So in Universe, there's a lot more realistic things, isn't it? There's someone unfortunately takes their own life and stuff like that. There's a lot more.
Okay.
And there's and there's people turn on each other in the show, and someone deliberately leaves someone behind on a planet, and there's a lot more of that kind of thing. And there's people unfortunately getting killed. Like, this doesn't happen every episode. It's not like real horrible, but these people get stranded on this ship several universes away, and they've got like things like I find it weird that they mention these things, but it is probably true. Like they mention about a lack of caffeine and how people are getting testy because their bodies get used to caffeine every day, but they start to get caffeine withdrawals. But I loved Universe.
So is it like Sliders almost?
No. So what it is you know how in Stargate they had 7 chevrons could open a Stargate, and then to get to Atlantis they had the 8th chevron, right? Do you remember this?
Vaguely, but I take it.
So it took 7 chevrons to dial a planet, but the 8th chevron could dial a gate address in another universe. So the 8th chevron could go to another universe. So 7 chevrons open a Stargate within their current universe.
Okay.
And then the 8th, so like an area code. Like for me to ring America, I've got to whack on whatever it is. Well, for you to dial the UK, you put 44 in front of the number. Yeah. In Atlantis, to get to Atlantis, you had to put in essentially a brand new area code to get to another universe. Now, in Stargate Universe, you had to use the 9th chevron, so it was 9 dial sequence, and it took you to a ship, and this ship was called the Destiny, and this ship could have been thousands and thousands of years old, and it basically, the answer of this ship never really got solved, and because the show got cancelled.
Oh, okay.
So essentially, about 100 people end up on this ship because it becomes like complicated trying to tell this story here, but they have to dial the address from another planet. They needed a lot of power and resources, so they Stargate Command set up a like a station on another planet, pull a lot of resources because it's very dangerous to dial this ninth chevron, pulls a lot of power from the planet. And then there's this when they dial it, they're getting attacked by some other alien group, whatever. And essentially the planet is starting to get destroyed. So they dial the ninth chevron, and everybody from this other station runs through the Stargate and ends up on this spaceship called the Destiny. And now they're stuck several galaxies away and are now having to figure out how to survive on this ship. Now they do have ways of communicating with Earth, but for the most part, everybody's stuck on that ship. And for 2 seasons, you'll seeing them figure out how to survive. They're coming in contact with different things, and the second season I actually think was stronger than the first. But the trouble was the viewers really dropped in the first, and so not enough people came back in the second for Sci-Fi to carry it on. And when Sci-Fi commissioned the show, they gave them a 2-season pickup, so they were guaranteed for 2 seasons. However, because the first season was a lot slower paced, there wasn't the numbers in season 2 for them to get a 3rd season. And season 2 ends on a really annoying cliffhanger, which, let's be honest, even in this new show, they're not going to resolve. Or if they do, it will be in a comment, I would imagine, from a few cast.
That was like well, I mean, yeah. Well, no, because before? Okay, so I feel like any show that really premiered in sci-fi during like the 2010s was kind of doomed to like there's a very few shows that went beyond, or they have like a habit, a trend of where like it was a solid show and it only went for 2 seasons. Alphas, 2 seasons. Yeah, we discussed it before, but I think it could have gone. I think it warranted a 3rd season, but Helix I think was solid.
Yeah.
Only ran for 2 seasons. They had a nice habit of like, there's some solid shows. I'm thinking of something like Being Human, the one with the Sam Witwer, where it's like the vampire werewolf and ghosts like live together. When did that premiere? Because it's like
that had 4 seasons, and
was that before 2010 though? Or was it?
I think it started before 2010. I think I can't remember.
Okay,
but that was a spin-off from a UK show, which
yeah.
To be fair, the US one got far more episodes than the UK one, I think, over the comparison. And I actually preferred the American version of Being Human over the English one. So
there's a rawness to like the UK shows, such as like that version of Being Human and like Misfits, like.
Mm-hmm.
The production value isn't there, like in the the American version. There's no American version of Misfits, but there's the ideas, the stories are there. That's like there's some great shit we've stole from you guys and turn it up a notch, just turn it up to 11, like The Office.
I prefer the American Office to the British.
Yeah, same. But that's what I'm saying. We there's some great, but there's a solid idea foundation.
By the way, I've never watched all of The Office in America, but of a handful of episodes I've watched, I preferred it. But I didn't really like the British version.
Ricky Gervais is a certain acquired taste.
Do you know what? As I've got older, maybe I've become more pessimistic. But Ricky Gervais has grown on me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you're a pessimist,
when I was younger, I did not like Ricky Gervais. Not as a person, his humor though, it wasn't for me. But as I've got older now, I'm just like.
Something that replays in my head like nonstop for whatever reason. When he was hosting like the awards a couple of years ago, he's like he's your friend. I don't care. He's like because he made a joke about somebody.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No,
he's like I don't care. Like that replays in my head randomly for
when he did this the award show, he did it for like 6 years straight or something, and he kept saying, "Look, they keep asking me back." So I remember watching. Me and my brother one night went onto YouTube and we watched every highlight award show thing that he'd done. What was it for? Is it the BAFTAs? Is that what it is? No, not.
I think it's like Golden Globe.
Oh, Golden Globes. Golden Globes. Yeah, Golden Globes. and he just comes on and he just destroys every celebrity when he comes on. He like and he doesn't care. And
he's like, look, when you get your award, come up here. Don't, he's like, don't do some self-righteous bit, where you act like you know what's going on in the real world because you don't live in the real world. He's like, just come up here, get your award, slag off. And I just respect that because there's so it's a lot of. I mean, that's the world we live in, but it's like when sometimes it's like any celebrity, it's kind of like a bastard in a sense, because even the most beloved celebrities, because it's like, bro, if you really cared, you wouldn't be sitting on millions. If someone was really that self-righteous, I don't mean no one wants to go broke, I guess, but it is if these celebrities were to come together, a lot, or all these people with all this money, a lot of the problems the world have, realistically, it's like they couldn't solve everything, but I feel like if every celebrity in the world chipped in a certain percentage of their earnings, there should be no need for homelessness in the world, or especially in America, in any state. So
I saw I don't. Everyone's got opinions on Elon Musk, and I know he's a rich guy, but I saw a thing on Elon Musk the other day where he was talking about homelessness, saying that they don't want to solve homelessness because of the amount of money that each state gets towards homeless people, or
I could believe it.
whatever. I don't really know enough about it to make a comment on this, but I can believe there's something around that's probably true.
It's the same thing as if you can look at the medical field, how they don't want cures, they want people to keep taking their meds, So if that's something, an indicator of that, then yes, I certainly believe that. The same thing with keeping people in the jailing systems over here in the States.
Oh yeah, it's a moneymaker. Unlike here, we haven't got the space here. Right, okay, let's move on. So anyway, Stargate, I'm excited, by the way, to circle back to what we were talking about. Stargate, I'm excited. This is something I've been wanting for ages, like honestly. So I did a rewatch about a year ago, Stargate Universe, both seasons, and then I started doing a rewatch of Atlantis. I think I only got about halfway through. But when I finished Stargate Universe, I was so annoyed by the ending, even the second time around. And I messaged I can't remember which one of the creators that was on that video. I just DM'd him on X, on Twitter, and he responded. And we were messaging each other back and forth. But when I saw that announcement, I noticed that he didn't. So he did. I messaged him, and he liked my response, but he didn't comment because I said a little bit more in my message. So I said to him, like, congratulations. And I said, this is really weird. I said, a couple of days ago, I was walking the dog and I was thinking about if I was to reboot Stargate, and I told him something I would do. And I think because I said that, he just liked my message, because I guess he probably didn't want to comment if I was right or not. Right. So what I said to him was, I said I had an idea for a reboot that it would follow. So in SG1 they always hinted that Sam and Jack liked each other.
I'll go with it.
Jack O'Neill was the leader of Stargate SG1. Richard Dean Anderson's character. And do you remember the blonde lady in Stargate SG1? That was Samantha Carter. During SG1, they never got together, but there was always
attention.
Yeah. So I said to him, I would create a lead character that was their daughter, who was and I said to him I had a few more ideas around it, but I would create a legacy character who was the daughter of Sam and Jack to lead a new Stargate team. And he just liked my comment but didn't say anything else, and I thought, that's telling. I could be wrong, but he's not wanting to comment, I thought. So
I mean, he can't give away the plot before it comes out. But he's got to. But it could be a good. It could be his way of like your head's in the right space. I can't confirm nor deny that though.
But it could be that there's let's be honest. It's been 25 years or something since Stargate SG1 launched, and probably over 15 years since Stargate SG1 finished.
Was it like 99, 2000?
Something like that. Yeah. And with a little bit of time jumping involved, they could easily have a 20-year-old daughter. So Right, anyway, let's move on to our next trailer. So Steph sent me a couple of trailers he wanted me to throw up. So.
Oh yeah, these looked fun.
Hey! This isn't a robbery! I am from the future!
What's this one?
And all of this
Good luck, have fun, don't die.
Oh yeah.
goes horribly wrong. I come from a future which is totally and completely fucked. And I'm here to set it right. Are any of you even listening to me? You look homeless, bro. Fuck you two. I come from a nightmare apocalypse. This is the height of fucking fashion. What we're dealing with doesn't interface with reality.
AI? Isn't that a thing already?
It gets a lot worse, honey.
Who's joining me? Who's ready to save the future? The revolution begins tonight!
Good luck, have fun, don't die.
Excuse me?
I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. You're in for a really weird night.
I just looked it up, February 13th release next year. So starring Sam Rockwell, who we saw the majority of that trailer.
Great cast. I'm loving the cast. Zazie Beetz. I cannot. Michael Pena, both fantastic. Sam Rockwell, Gem. Gore Verbinski, I think, is one of the underrated, one of the more solid. I've not seen a Gore Verbinski movie he's done where I'm like, not every movie is a box office hit, but I think every movie he does is a banger. Where whatever you put him on, he's very visual, for sure. So it's cool to see him. This is like giving me vibes of this comic called like Memetic, Paper Girls, a bunch of shit. Like, right, I'm curious. It probably is based off like a manga or some shit, or
so it's got decent runtime, 133 minutes, which is 2 hours and 13 minutes. In case people can't bother to work that out. So for me, like I'll be honest with you, I form an opinion based on the length of time of a movie. If a movie is anything less than an hour and a half, I immediately go into it thinking this is no more than a 3 out of 5. I normally think most films below an hour and a half are normally a pile of garbage, or stuff that you're going to watch, maybe enjoy in the moment and probably never watch again. Those kind of movies, like Netflix type movies.
I mean, there's like,
there's the odd one. Don't get me wrong. I
like
am generalizing.
But
then when I see movies circling around the 2 hour mark, I start to think, okay, there's more investment here in character and plot and probably money. So I buy into that time span a lot more. Now I'll watch movies that are an hour and a half long, but I just form an opinion based off of runtime.
So if you see like a movie that's like 4 hours long, you're like, oh, best movie ever made.
Well, I'm like, yeah, this is going to be a good one. Do you know what I did today? Actually, I booked tickets for Kill Bill, the whole bloody affair.
That's different. But that's that. I mean, I would definitely see that myself. But it's different. That's because I'm thinking of Lord of the Rings. I just watched Return of the King, and 4 hours, my man. That's 4 hours.
Yeah, those are all good films.
Films. Yeah, they are amazing. So Kill Bill's right up there. It's like I did, because I remember seeing Return of the King when I was 15 in theaters, and it was long, but I don't think it was 4 hours. So they added a lot of content into that, re-edited it. Just like Kill Bill. So I was a little intimidated with the Kill Bill announcement initially, but that's before I did this Lord of the Rings rewatch. but after sitting through the Lord of the Rings, I know I can knock out Kill Bill, man. I'm excited for it. But yeah, this movie, it looks fun. I'm always down for something. It's got like a lot of sci-fi. So it looks like because Gore Verbinski has done sci-fi movies. He's done horror movies, The Ring. So I'm excited to see his new foray. I can't really remember the last thing he's done, to be honest. I haven't seen his name in a while.
So let's jump into your next trailer, which is Night Patrol, and we'll talk about it after we've watched it.
When I was a kid, all I wanted to do was be a cop. I just thought it was the coolest thing. We're portrayed differently now. We're seen in a very negative light. Most of us are good, but there are a few bad apples out there.
Turn around and face the other way.
What is this? They shot your sister. I think it was Night Patrol.
You guys are special. I want to be a part of that. When are you gonna let me in on the big secret around here?
You want in, Night Patrol? This is it.
What the What did you do to me?
They vampires.
Tonight, let's go. We show him how Night Patrol hunts. We bleed colonial courts dry. I heard what they were. I still didn't believe.
Y'all feel that? Coming for us next.
This is Night Patrol. We need to be ready.
Oh, yeah! Oh, hell yeah!
Hey. This is a sacred night. This is good versus evil.
We ain't gonna know it till we get some payback on that demon.
Is it demons? It could be lizard man.
What? Yo, Trip, you brought them silver bullets?
Hold up, blood. That's werewolves, man. You tripping?
I ain't tripping no.
No, sucker.
Firstly, awesome trailer. That's not what I expected at all. I deliberately held this off for this. When I saw it was Night Patrol, I thought it was just a cop movie. I did not expect that to go down the vampire route at all. So I was like, when they got him into the warehouse about Night Patrol, I thought it was going down the Training Day route. I thought this was going to be some sort of
It's giving me like vibes of like Training Day meets End of Watch meets like 30 Days a Night.
Yeah.
I Justin Long, I'm a big Justin Long fan. It's cool. This seems like it's different for him, a little bit more physical than he's usually playing, like a little bit of a timid, nerdier dude.
So it says release date here, January 16th next year. So
close
really,
to
really not long to go, like 6 weeks, something like that. So
yeah. Look, it looks fun. I'm always here, and I'm just surprised that it's Shudder. It's
in regards to the runtime, it's an hour and 44 minutes. So I'll have high assumptions here.
I mean, horror movies. If you're doing a horror movie and if it's like over 2 hours, I think you're being a little pretentious for a horror movie. Like, and that's
I'm playing with you. I'm playing with you.
I get that, but it's like I guess there's a credence to that theory. Like, you've only got so much time to get the story out, so you can only spend so much time with characters and getting you to care about characters in a certain amount of time. So I get that, but in a horror movie, if it's this is just a hood vampire cop movie, like, I'm here for it. It seems different than what we're it's a little different. I'm always all for different.
So what was it? Oh, so something I wanted to say, actually, this is something I've noticed a lot of I've noticed this over the years. Sorry, apologies. But I find it interesting that a lot of these films will have a release date, like, say, 6 months before the general release date. So this was shown at something called Fantastic Fest, September this year, and then a general release in January. So I find it quite interesting that a lot of these movie like festivals and stuff like that will get to watch it. And I know a lot of the people that go to these things are people within the industry. So it's movie reviewers, people like Rotten Tomatoes or whatever, those kind of people will be invited along to watch these things. Like journalists, basically journalists get a chance to watch it. It's not these fair things are not normally general public, but I just find it interesting that they'll have like a mini festival or something where they show these things first.
I think that's kind of like the gauge.
I always imagined it being screeners, so, you know, like just getting given them and they watch them at home. But I guess that's too risky in case they try and distribute them.
Yeah, really get out to the public. And then, you know, like I was saying earlier about this being a theatrical release from Shudder, and I'm sure they've done other movies, but this seems like more of a major push. Sometimes maybe like it got such a great response at that festival that they're like, yo, when instead of putting this straight on Shudder, let's put this in theaters. Let's try to get some money out of this, see what it does.
Well, I assume there must be people there that are money people as well, looking at these things going, do you know what, actually this is something I could take a risk on. So
yeah
maybe they gauge opinion from the sort of the journalists and people in the film industry that are there, because they're people too, although they look on it in a different eye. Like I've had this conversation with you before, saying, because me and you are analytical people of this of pop culture and movies and stuff, sometimes you break down something a little bit more than you should. You know, you go into it with, you know, some people go into something enjoying it, then other people go into it enjoying it. Like in our seat, we will take two views: enjoyment, but also like breaking down
critical.
The plot. Like, you know. So anyway, but yeah, I imagine that these people here will do both, and if they can gauge the overall enjoyment, they're like, yeah, okay, actually, let's put this out nationally.
Yeah. And it looks different, so I'm hoping. And January is such a dead month for movies, so it's like they're really not taking much of a loss, anyways. But I just seen this Far Cry series has just been announced on FX with Noah Hawley as the showrunner creator. That should be interesting for some video game news for all our listeners out there. Hawley's he's in his bag, man. I respect it.
Amazing. Yeah, I've never played Far Cry. It's a game franchise I'd like to jump into at some point. There's one more piece of news and then we'll move on. That I've grabbed. I don't know if you saw this.
I don't haven't read this comic. It's cool. It seems like it's another
So for people listening, Boom Studios' Grimm comic has been announced as having an animated series at Netflix from Wednesday creators Al Gao and Go, I don't know, and Miles Millar. So I'll be honest, I've read the first two issues, really liked it. Nothing wrong with the comic, but I was like, I buy too many comics, so I just didn't carry it on. But it was cool. I liked so she's basically a female Grim Reaper.
It's cool.
Yeah.
I have no interest. I haven't read the comic, so I'm not gonna. I mean, if the show's cool, I'll check it out. But yeah, I don't care about for the. You know, this isn't titillating me in any sort of way. I could care less.
It's fine. Right. Let's
care less.
Pivot over to what we've been doing this week. So, Steph, you wanted to chat about PlayStation.
Yes, recently signed up for PlayStation Plus again, man. I've been trying to grind some stuff out. What inspired that was I am a big fan of Jak and Daxter, and I've had the remastered collection for like 7 years now. And I had it on PlayStation 4, but my PlayStation 4 took shit on me a couple years ago, and I just never got around to replacing it. Fast forward to like 2-3 years ago, I got my PlayStation 5. Haven't really been giving it much time, but like I said a few weeks ago, I've been trying to change that. So I beat Jak and Daxter, and I was like, you know what? I want to play through the whole game, like the whole series, but I want to do it in chronological order. And so after so it goes Jak and Daxter, Jak 2, Jak 3, Jak X Racing, and then they did a spinoff, Daxter, and then another spinoff, the Lost Precursor. It's kind of shit. But so in chronological order, though, within the story, it goes Jack and Daxter, and then Daxter. So Daxter's a PSP game. I have it on my PSP, actually. It's like one of the only games I have on PSP. But since I was playing it on PlayStation, they have Daxter on PlayStation, but I didn't want to spend money on rebuying the game. So I was like, you know what? But PlayStation Plus, went and beat Daxter on my PlayStation, and now I'm proceeding to rebeating Jack 2. I'll tell you how it goes. That's one of the more frustrating. It's probably the more frustrating game in the franchise. But no, I've been diving into so much shit. I've been meaning to get around to the last couple years, like Last of Us Part 2, Ghost of Tsushima, Death Stranding, even though that's on Xbox now, but it's like if it's on PlayStation, I'll play it there. Just there's been a few to Gravity Rush, like even older games. There's been games I've been meaning to beat or just actually play, and I'm finally digging into my PlayStation now. Xbox is my default, but you know I've my Xbox will always be there. So I'm testing out my PlayStation Plus for a while. I don't know. I'm gauging whether which move I want to make, because with the we've talked about it recently with Xbox Live. I like to pay for the top tier subscriptions. I'll be honest. I'm kind of a snob when it comes to that. So it's like if we're talking Xbox Live, that's $30 for the top subscription. PlayStation Plus, that's like $18. And I recently learned, like, if you pay for the top PlayStation Plus subscription, you get you can stream the games, like you can stream everything, kind of like Xbox. But most people don't know this, but Microsoft actually helps out Sony when it comes to like their streaming services. So I just had to bring that up because it's funny. I saw someone talking shit in a YouTube comment recently about how Microsoft streaming sucks. I'm like, you do know that they help out Sony with their streaming services as well, right? Like that's Microsoft helping you stream your games on PlayStation. But yeah, no, yeah, it's been fun. Quite a few. I'm like, man, why have I put this off for so long? Because it's like, well, it's been 5 years since Ghost of Tsushima came out, and I'm like, they already have a sequel to that. They already have a sequel to like that. There's so many games I've been meaning to play that they have sequels to. I'm like, yo, I gotta put a stop to this. So yeah, I've been enjoying my PlayStation.
Yeah, I need to play more. I think I told you last week, my daughter's like been on the PlayStation, and it's kind of seeing it makes me want to do it, but I'm still in the movie thing at the minute. I've watched a lot of movies again. So, I know we haven't got time to go through everything that I've watched, but yeah, let me just double check quickly. So last week we recorded on the 21st. So everything from... No, we didn't. Sorry. Last week we recorded on the 14th. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Watched 19 movies since our last
Long story
episode.
short, you've watched a lot of movies. Like
Yeah. For me to go through all of those, we could do a whole episode. But I'll shout out 2 or 3. I watched the new Now You See Me, Now You Don't last night. I'd give that a 3.5 out of 5.
Seems about right.
I watched on Saturday the new Wicked film, Wicked for Good. I'd give that a 5 out of 5. I debated between a 4, but in the end I was like, no, do you know what? I'm giving it a 5 out of 5. So
okay.
I look, I'm a huge Wicked fan. I've seen it in theater 3 times.
Sorry, so the Far Cry series is by Noah Hawley and Rob McKinley, where he's going by the creator of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh yeah,
such a random combination. My bad.
No, it's fine. What I wanted to shout out was I watched an indie film which came out last year called Bird. It's set in the UK, and it's basically follows people that live in basically the poverty part of the world in the UK. They live in slums and all that kind of stuff. But still, like if you ever put it on, is so good. Like the first 15-20 minutes, I was like, oh, I don't know if this is for me. But it really handles social commentary while also interceding. I don't want to ruin it, but by interceding, let's just put it like this: magical moments, shall we say? I don't want to say any more on that, but there's little droplets throughout, and then at the end, there's this really cool thing that happens, and you realize that they've been sowing the seeds, shall we put, but real social commentary with. I won't say any more, but yeah, it's worth watching. It's called Bird. And then I watched 2 South Korean films this week, which were old. Parasite, which I think you've seen.
Yeah, fantastic. Boon Jung Ho. I think I can't. We're probably butchering the director's name. Snowpiercer. If you've seen that.
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bong Joon-ho. Yeah, I don't know if
Joon-ho.
that's how you say him. Yeah. That was such a good film. Like, honestly, do you know what? I didn't read anything about it, didn't watch a trailer on. I just knew people had been talking really high praise about it, put it on, and I was like, shit, this is really good. Like, honestly. And what I loved was how the film shifted as it moved, as the film went on, like what it was about kept shifting. Which was cool. And then I watched a film called Past Lives, which is also a South Korean film. Have you seen that?
I've heard of it.
That was really good as well. So a different type of film. But I watched a film that's been on my watch list for years, 20 years or something, Lost in Translation. I watched that this week as well.
Wow. I didn't know that was the first watch for you when you said you had watched it. I think I overlooked that part. How'd you like it? Have you seen Her?
Sorry, no, I haven't. But now I've seen it. People, I've looked it up, and people have also said you should.
It's a good. I did. Yeah, I did. It's a good juxtaposition between those two stories. Definitely Her. I love even more than Lost in Translation.
I think when Lost in Translation came out, I was in my early 20s, and I don't think the person I am now versus the person I was in my 20s probably wasn't interested in that type of film. I don't think. And then
I was, man, so I must have been on some other shit as a teenager then, because when like that movie when that came out, what's the movie with why am I blanking on it? Michel Gondry, Michel Gondry, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
So I've not seen that.
Like, I saw that as a teenager, and I was immediately in love with that film. I still love that film, but I don't know.
I'll tell you what, I'll try and watch that before next week's episode if I can.
That's great.
Yeah, let me try and see if I can get to it. But if not, I'll watch it for the following week. Let me say over the next 2 weeks, I'll try and watch it, because I've heard like everybody that gets asked like what their top 5-10 movies in, I've noticed is names that film. And I was like, I've got to get. But no, that film, Lost in Translation, me now being in my early 40s, watching that film, I feel like I can relate a lot more to.
That's understandable.
The midlife crisis thing that he's going in. Just to be clear to everybody, I'm not going through a midlife crisis. I would say several years ago, potentially I did, but I will not go on about that now.
Even if you're not going through it or you haven't gone,
I can relate to some of those things.
Those ideas.
But the little things like how you could see in the film, he was irritated by the mundane of choosing carpet samples or whatever they were or whatever, and equally they were 2 lost souls, but it only works in the city they were in, because if they had been in London or New York, they could have easily have found other people. They were kind of stuck together because the amount of people they could socialize with that spoke English was very limited, and also people that could relate to them, because obviously they come from the same cultural background, so people that they could relate to each other, easily.
Kind of like work and relationships. Like, a lot of people you work with sometimes consider your friends. You're only friends because you're in that environment. You work with each other,
Yeah, definitely. So there was that. Yeah, there was that. They became like close friends, and at the end when he hugs her and kisses her and whispers something in her ear, and you deliberately can't hear it. I even looked that up, and apparently no one really knows what he said. And the director said, "Feel free to say whatever you want." And I saw Scarlett being interviewed, and she still won't admit what was said.
I
Like
mean,
even recently.
yeah. Why would that's the whole? That's kind of like with Nolan's
Oh
Inception.
no, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with no one knowing. I just meant like I just was curious to see if it had ever come out down the road. So
That would
but
take
no.
some magic away from it. If they ever revealed, I mean, they could say, "Well, I believe that he probably said something like this since he was in this state of mind," but nothing definitive. Don't put a definitive stamp.
What I would imagine was that he probably said something to Scarlett rather than her character. That's more what I'm imagining. Because she was 17 at the time, and maybe he said something profound to her because that's what I'm imagining. So, but no, I'm glad
She was not 17.
Yeah,
when she filmed it.
Yeah, 17.
What year was she born?
I don't know without looking it up, but she said she was. It said she was 17 when she.
That's wild. That is so wild. That's different times, but it makes me uncomfortable now, to be honest.
Yeah, I just looked it up. Age when filming Lost in Translation, she was 17 years old. The film was released in 2023. The age difference between her and Bill Murray, who was 52 at the time.
So when did they film the movie then? Because she's 4 years older than me, and I was 15 in 2003. So if they filmed the movie in 2002, I would have been 14. She would have been 18, 17 going on 18, I guess.
It was filmed in 2002 and released in 2003. So she was 17 in 2002. So it would have come out when she was maybe 17/18. So there you go. That's I've crossed another one off my list.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, 19 films like within like a week. That's insane. To be honest, I'm going through this like weird film thing at the minute. So I don't think I'm going to get that much time this week for the same level of films. But whilst there was time, I did it. So okay, we will, unless there's anything else you want to shout out, we will move on into our main event.
All good.
Okay, our main event is I wonder if I can. Oh no. I've just got rid of our faces for a minute. Maybe let's just do that instead. Right, okay. Our main event is the first season of My Adventures of Superman, and as we do on this show, we like to shout out first appearances. I found this quite interesting. So Superman and Lois Lane's first appearance was in Action Comics issue 1, which came out in June 1938. Well, sorry, it had a cover date of 1938, but was actually published in April that year. Creators are Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, I think that's how you say it. Which I thought this was interesting too. Came out from National Allied Publications, which was a predecessor to DC Comics. However, Jimmy Olsen, he first appeared in Action Comics issue 6 as an unnamed character, just a character with like a bow tie in the background.
Oh, wow.
That came out in November 1938. His first appearance, though, was a couple of years later. Jimmy Olsen appeared in The Adventures of Superman radio serial show, which came out in April 1940. However, his first named appearance was in Superman issue 13 in December 1941. I thought that was quite interesting.
Yeah.
Before we go forward, there are spoilers. Be warned. I don't really imagine that My Adventures of Superman is going to really change your life if we do spoil it.
They got 2 seasons out.
Yeah. We're only going to talk about season 1 in this episode. We'll come back to season 2 probably next year.
Oh, well, I didn't know there was a time discrepancy when they released it in the UK.
I did not know that either. So the My Adventures of Superman came out in July 2023. And then in October 2023 in the UK. So the US got it in July and we got it in October. That happens quite regularly.
I didn't know that. Yeah, I thought the UK was.
I think it depends. I think it depends. If it's like something like Game of Thrones, it's like the same day. If it's like any of these big things, it's fairly similar. But occasionally, things like this that are not big and people are not clambering for them will sometimes get a later release date. So I don't know if do you want to shout these out?
Yeah, main cast, we got Jack Quaid as Clark Kent Superman, Alice Lee as Lois Lane, and Ishmael Saeed as Jimmy Olsen.
Do you want to do this or should I do it?
This is Marvel Zombies picture.
Oh crap!
That's all
Yeah,
right.
sorry, I forgot to edit that bit. Yeah, but
We
anyway,
got Daryl Brown as Perry White. I thought I was just had to check because I was like, am I reading the cast for Marvel Zombies?
no, I
Perry-
honestly didn't edit the photo. Oh, sorry, but
Sorry,
yeah.
Carrie Walgren as Martha Kent, Reed Scott as Jonathan Kent, Papa Kent, Max Middleman as Alex Lex Luthor, and Hank Henshaw, amongst others. Michael Emerson as AI Brainiac, Chris Parnell, oh wow, as Slade Wilson, Deathstroke, Zahara Fazil as Leslie Willis, aka Livewire.
Do you know what, that picture that I just said? Do you know what? I thought I'd checked them all, but I obviously hadn't. So,
That's all right.
however, I did check this one. So the crew, I'll quickly run through this. So co-showrunners and developers are Jake Wyatt and Brendan Clower. I don't know how you say some of these people's names. And then producer and developer Josie Campbell. Exclusive producers are Michael. Oh, damn.
William?
Uwilene,
yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
and Sam Register. Right, there's a bunch of other people here. Animation Studio, Studio Maya, which is known apparently for its distinctive high quality animation.
Oh, Legend of Korra. Okay, that
Yeah.
makes so much sense because I was definitely getting Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah, you
vibes.
said that before we started recording.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they're known for their style on people like Legend of Korra and Voltron Legendary Defender. Music composers are Dominic Lewis and Daniel Fucher, and the primary directors were Janet Bennett and Diana something like that. Do you know what? Sorry, I just played around with the camera. I didn't realize you could do that part. That looks. I'll do that next week. And here we are. So, right, okay. I wanted to ask you before we go any further, would you consider this first season a must-watch?
I wouldn't consider it a must-watch, but it was fun. It was different. A different take on Superman. Honestly, it was a little more refreshing than what I thought I was getting into. Like the way they meshed and amalgamated certain mythos takes on it. Or I liked the fact that for example, when he gets his suit, it's visually more similar to like New 52 Rebirth era of Superman.
Yeah, definitely.
But then my Mama Kent quickly is like, we gotta do something to that. As she adds the trunks to it. I thought that was a cool little way of playing with the mythology and him developing his look. She, it was Mama Kent who made it more homely, like more comfortable, more welcoming, not some alien high-tech garb. But then he, there are moments where it's like he's like going Super Saiyan and like his suit transforms, which is kind of absolute. Have you read Absolute Superman yet?
I've read maybe the first 8 or 9 issues. Something like that.
Yeah. So it's like his suit makes sense in that aspect. Like he's, it's not just always spandex that he puts on and stuff like that. So I thought it was cool the way they were taking and borrowing from different parts of Superman mythos to create their own little universe. Now it's fun, it's different. Would I say it's a must watch? No. It's hard for me. I think of it like the new Batman movie with Rob Pattinson. Like, beautiful movie. It's a great film, but is it gonna stack up? If we're talking about legendary status to like the Nolan films, The Dark Knight, no. That's what I view this as. It's visually, it's very stunning. It's very fun.
I think for me, I feel like it's not a must watch, but it's you should watch it. Like, you should go if you want something fun, you should watch this.
But is it gonna be like like is it gonna stack up to like the 90s Superman, My Adventures of Superman?
Yeah, My Adventures of Superman.
No.
I remember, I was looking up some comparisons between this and My Adventures of Superman, and I know that My Adventures of Superman and also the Batman the Animated Series were big things back then.
They were definitive takes, man. Still to this day, I think those are like when most readers, probably from a certain age or era, if you read Batman or Superman in a comic, I think there's a large portion of readers who have like Tim Daly and why am I blanking on Kevin Conroy as Batman and Superman respectively? Those are the voices you hear when you read them in comics or books.
So,
like, at least for me.
Yeah, no, I didn't watch both the animated Superman and Batman. I've not watched all the way through. I've watched here and there.
Man,
So
Mark.
when they came out, though, they were just on TV, and you just caught them.
All
when they
these
were
random
on.
films that no one's heard about, you got to start putting those aside and catch up on these classics you've missed over the last 20, 30 years.
Random films like Parasite and Lost in Translation, you mean?
Island, Bird, those random films.
Yeah. Oh, those two.
This the one that was on. Okay, I can go get
what it
deeper if
was
you
with
want.
those what is those random films like? What it was is I got into this whole indie focus. I've been kind of like focusing on like really indie films, and that's kind of just where my focus has been the last couple of maybe a month or two. And I kind of got maybe like analytical and into the whole indie thing, and I found it fascinating how you'll find films like, I don't know, like Nora. I know people might not count that as an indie, but it was an indie, and it was only made for $6 million US, and I find it fascinating that you can make a film like that for such a low level money, and people that are with that level of money telling these like fantastic stories. So yeah, I just got into it recently, but yeah, you're right. I did think to myself, I can't continue this level of movie watching without it, because I've stopped reading comics. I haven't really been watching that much TV shows.
I mean, we all have.
Yeah.
It's you gotta. It's what you want to put your energy into. I think we all get into that, where it's like, you
Well,
divide it up sometimes, and other times it's going more into one avenue.
Yeah, I think because Jasmine, when she was on here, she always used to joke about, was it during COVID? She used to call it like her anime renaissance or something or other. She used to just watch anime. That was it. She would just watch anime. That was it. So that was not forever, but I think for like a year she just watched anime. That was it. And she would come on with the most obscure anime shows that I've never heard of, like The Chicken Ate My Goat, love story or something. I don't know. It's like,
they got some titles.
Yeah, they do have some crazy titles.
There's
and
something about a teenage slime. Like, I dated a teenage. I remember someone telling me about that, and I'm like, so what's the title? I was like, that is the title. I'm like, what? That whole thing? I dated a teenage, like, it was some crazy shit, but yeah.
There's a lot of Panic at the Disco.
Yes.
Fallout Boy-esque titles going on in there. So, maybe like America and those industries are what is Fallout Boy and Panic at the Disco? What type of music is that?
I'd say like emo.
Emo punk type. Yeah. Okay. Do you want to give a summary of what your thoughts are on the show? Or?
Yeah, it was fun. Better than I was expecting. I actually started. I watched like the first 3 episodes when it first came out, but as I quickly do with many shows, I'll fall out of it and be like, "Oh wow, I can't believe I haven't watched this in a number of years." But yeah, it was fun. It was witty. The dialogue was actually pretty fun. I thought it was going to be kind of like a cheesy. It is got aspects of being a cheesy romance cartoon at times, but it's more meta and self-aware than I thought it was going to be, which I appreciate. Jimmy Olsen is probably my favorite character. I thought his humor throughout the series was excellent, and even to riff on them, kind of like. Now, meanwhile, I haven't seen the second season, but at the end of the first season, they set up something where Jimmy becomes a millionaire, and it's like that could easily segue into, if you know Superman mythos. I'm not like the biggest Superman lore fan or Superman fan out there, but there's like My Adventures of Jimmy Olsen. Like, Jimmy Olsen is known for getting these crazy hijinks adventures where Superman kind of has to bail him out sometimes he doesn't. There's been different takes on it, but with how he was set up as being a millionaire at the end of the first season, I was like, oh, that's really cool. It's like So if Jimmy Olsen in the second season is going on all these, they're kind of riffing on the My Adventures with Jimmy Olsen in the second season. They've set that up in a really organic, believable way. They could have even done like a little spinoff show or like little shorts of showing Jimmy Olsen's random adventures.
Yeah,
Mind you, I've
definitely.
not seen the second season, so they could have done all this. But I just it was a way. It's man, must watch is such a heavy word, man. I think that all falls down to the eye of the beholder as well. Who's viewing it. Some people might view this as a must watch, but I think it's very strong. And like you said, it's definitely you should watch. You should give it a chance. If you're on the fence about it, I think it's definitely worth giving it a chance.
I think
I was not what I was
I was
expecting.
going to say before we started recording, I typed into the internet like if you had watched this show, like other shows you might like. So I'll shout these out. So Steph and Jasmine and other people we know, I am not the anime. Like you and Jasmine would definitely have a lot more knowledge on anime than I do. But I went into Google and it said something like, if you watched this, you would also like One Punch Man, Mob Psycho 100, Jujutsu Kaisen, and then there's a few others in there. And I could see this is this must-watch thing where you just said it's on the eye of the beholder. I think if you like those kind of style shows, you probably will like this. So for me, this is very much American anime influence style put together, and I can see what you mean when we were talking about Legend of Korra and what's it called, Avatar: The Last Airbender. There's that kind of style. But when I watched the intro of My Adventures with Superman, I was like, this is Jujutsu Kaisen. I was like, the style of it and everything is very Jujutsu Kaisen. I haven't watched lots of anime, but it felt that to me. But nowhere near as gory. No one's fingers are getting eaten or anything like that in this show. Okay, so I watched it season 1 only. I've not watched season 2. From episode 1 to 2, I felt like the dialogue was very modern, and it wasn't. If you compare it to things like 80s and 90s cartoons, they were kind of aiming it at children. I felt like this was actually aimed at everybody, adults, children. It was written for people to follow and not feel like they were watching just a cartoon. It had humor and danger and an ongoing story as well, which I thought was cool. It wasn't just episode of the week. There was ongoing narratives. There was we had the ongoing story of his backstory. We have the love interest. We also had the trio, like the found family elements as well. So that we had them as their origin from interns to becoming fully fledged reporters at the end.
Squad,
yeah. Like I found all of these things, and I liked that we still at the end of this season don't fully know all of Superman's backstory, which is a very different take on Superman.
We reminiscent of James Gunn's take.
I felt like that. Yeah, I felt like they pulled from James. Well, I know James Gunn has movies come after this, but they
were
would have been
working in
talking
tandem,
to each other. Yeah. So there was definitely. I felt like when I was watching this, where in James Gunn's movie they allude to him having maybe a darker backstory, and this is also in this season in this show as well, that there's
More
potentially
so.
this darker. Like definitely, and even the sort of the robotic base thing that he has on the farm as well felt a lot more dangerous than we've seen in the past. But overall, I thought the animation was really vibrant, and I enjoyed watching it. I felt like just the colors and everything was popping on me. Look, I love the music. There was just so much I enjoyed about it. And do you know, one of the things I really want to shout out was I love the fact that we didn't go for obvious villains. Like, we didn't go for Lex Luthor straight out of the gate. There's a
shout out to I'm glad you brought that up. That reminded me of
I love this Livewire and things like that.
Livewire, excellent choice, but was it Flex, not Flex Metallo, but who had why am I blanking on his name? But he had to put his brain in that robotic body, but
Metallo.
Metallic, yes,
Yeah.
yeah. The look of him was very indicative of Evangelion, which is a legendary mech anime. Crazy. You should check that one out if you're looking for some deep anime. Visually distinct, but his design would just reminded me of like that and Escaflowne in a little sense. Well, Escaflowne was white, but just like the molds, there's like a similar look to those. Which so I was like, man, it's cool how it is like very heavily anime inspired. You know, like you can see the influences.
Also, I love as well that I feel like we have a legitimate reason for something that I've been critical of in the past is like the general lane hatred of Superman. Actually felt like there was a real reason, legitimate reason for the general lane hatred, because he was there the day Superman arrived, and a lot of his soldiers and people he worked with were killed on the day Superman arrived, and he'd been gearing himself up for a further like say a division, like a battle or something of these aliens coming again. So when he sees Superman is here, he's immediately focused on revenge and hatred towards him, but legitimately so, because so many people that he worked with, and especially in army, when you're in the army, I've never been in the army, but I can imagine a lot of these people you don't just look at them as colleagues, you're looking at them as family, because you have to rely on them and support each other. And he saw a load of them get killed off on the day Superman arrived. And he probably, if it was real life, he probably had to be involved in telling their families and going to funerals and all that stuff. I know they didn't show any of that in the cartoon because it's also for kids. So he was gearing up towards an eventual second wave, and the clash of here's my new boyfriend, and the boyfriend's like, oh crap, that's the guy who also wants to kill me. Like that I thought was cool, because in the past when we've seen those things used in Smallville or Superman and Lois and other, I can't remember, even in the comics, I just never really bought into the massive hatred. It just felt a bit like it's just the guy, I've forgotten his name, from the Daily Bugle, just hates Spider-Man just because he hates Spider-Man. J. Jonah Jameson, that's it. I just felt like it was like the default thing for a character to hate the good guy just for no reason. But this, I can buy into it, and I definitely think the writing here was very clever. How they sowed a lot of seeds into his origin at the beginning, and then we end up with a 3-part season finale of 0 Day, which ties back to Superman's arrival 22 years earlier. And in the middle, whilst we're building up to confrontation at the end, we've also got throughout this as well, like I was talking about, having Task Force X and Amanda Waller.
Yeah, little was like oddly enough, the Amanda Waller bit. She reminded me. She kind of like in. I don't know. I don't feel like they really unless it's like in the movies, like her basic look is like stays the same when it comes to cartoons, because it kind of reminded me of Amanda Waller from like the Justice League days, Justice League Unlimited. So I was like, oh, that was a nice familiar connection that I could get behind.
One of my favorite moments from the whole show, though, was the kind of bottle episode with the Legion of Loises. They really have no time for the Lois Lane of this earth, and she's the one who ends up like kicking ass and winning the day.
Mr. and Mrs. Mixelpick. I thought that was a cool interpretation of that character, because he's the imp god from the 5th dimension. Like, should possibly, I like is the ambiguity there. The genderless, because I was like, we wouldn't understand a character from, they wouldn't have a sex, or like, so the play on words, Mr. and Mrs. Mixelplick, I thought was a nice little new spin.
I think that character reminds me of people like Q from Star Trek: The Next Generation, and they just want to cause trouble. They just want to have a good time.
Yeah.
They're not interested in the repercussions of anything they do. They're just they're all
This
about
curiosity
themselves.
is
Yeah, they're about themselves, curiosity, just having a good time. And if things smash around them and fall over, then so be it. So,
like,
you
oh,
know,
well, on to the
yeah,
next
like-
experiment.
yeah, and they're happy to lie and mischief and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, so I thought that was an interesting take that he shows up at Superman's door and he's like, oh, you know, do you want to? We need to go and save Lois, but actually Lois is, you know, on her way to have a date with him, and then the Legion of Lois's. But yeah, actually, that nicely brings me to the whole romance between Lois and Superman. I felt it was very natural. I like that we got into it quickly. I have watched other things where they dilly dally and take their time to build up to it, and I hate all that stuff because it's like, look, we know they're going to end up together, so let's just get on with it. And so I liked that we didn't spend too long getting into it.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too, because it's like there was a part of me I was like, oh man, like it's so soon. It was a little cheesy, but at the same time I was like, these are younger takes on the characters, and like being a younger person, you are more prone to having everything be more exacerbated, more heightened. Everything's more intense. It moves more quicker. Like teenage romances. It goes honeymoon to divorce in like a week or two.
Well, I also love that she blurts out his name. When he's Superman and he's like, I've got to go and do something, whatever, and then she shouts out Clark,
yeah.
because she'd been eating herself up about whether or not it's him or not.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the fact that, again, we don't spend 3 seasons to get to that, but there's probably I reckon the reasoning behind that is also because kids are watching this.
Yes.
Will kids want to wait 3 seasons? No, they wouldn't.
They don't care about romance.
They don't care about romance as much, but also they don't care about things being drawn out. They're not, if a 12-year-old is watching this, they're not interested in Lois and Clark finding out the truth 3 seasons later. This isn't a CW Arrowverse show. This is
I can only think back to like my viewing days as like a 13-year-old watching Dragon Ball Z, and it would take like 20 episodes for Goku to form a fucking spirit bomb. Like it'd be like 20 episodes where he's just like holding his hand, garnering energy while everyone else is fighting and stuff. But it'd be like, it being dramatic, but it'd be like a few episodes where Goku's just standing there trying to gather energy, and you're just like, come on, man, we get it, get past this. So yeah, I can assume the same aspect applies to like romance. Like it's like American mythology at this point when it comes to like Spider-Man, Batman, Superman. Their origins, their bits. We don't need this unless you're really doing a drastically different take or showing the relationship in a different light. Then there's no need for all that extra setup, especially when it's aimed at a certain demographic.
I think you mentioned earlier about James Gunn's Superman and this show. They would have been working hand in hand with each other, and I could see real parts of his Superman in this, because even the character of Steve and other bits and pieces, and like the potential Superman having a potential evil backstory, on Krypton, that he was maybe sent here for less good purposes, when we've had in the past that he was always sent from a dying planet, and this one seems a lot more dark and mysterious, and a lot of the characters that we had
so almost taking cues from Invincible at the same time.
Yeah, that's true as well. I felt like maybe there was elements of them, probably they would have spoken to each other, so James Gunn would be aware of this, whilst it's not connected to the sort of the DCU. There's parts of me that think that they have riffed off each other, maybe. So,
I know. Well, he's been ahead of everything in DC movies since the end of 2022, beginning of 2023. So I think he definitely. This might have been made before he. I don't know how that works though, because it's like before they announced it, how long was James Gunn working with the tops at DC Discovery, whatever, or Warner Brothers Discovery, to I always look at it as like an internship. It's not like James Gunn just like, hey, you get this job. Obviously, I think he was doing stuff in the background that led to him getting that position. So I don't know, how much of his involvement was precursor to him being announced as like the head of DC Studios. So I mean, he could, but the show could have been made while he wasn't the head, but he still could have had his hands on or helped guide it in a way. But yeah, he was. So I could see them taking and like they want to be on the same page. That's probably it could.
Oh, see,
probably
was
be
it the
right
Suicide Squad came out in what 2020 or
2021?
2021. So yeah, and then he had the first season of Peacemaker before he got made the head of DCU with sorry. So yeah, like you say, he probably would have been involved in elements of conversation before the final job offer came over, and I'm sure he was trying to get that job as well. Well, also, The Rock was also trying to get that job.
How far he's fallen.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, I think, look, in summary, for me, I think that we've got some decent character arcs for especially what is a kids' cartoon show. I think they've also got a strong narrative for the actual overall story. From day one, they've weaved in various elements here that I think work really well. We've got the love interest. We've also got the friendship trio, which it doesn't feel like Jimmy's the spare part. It feels like Jimmy, Lois, and Superman are actually. I mentioned earlier a found family, but I think between the three of them, they work really well together and have
I love
supported each
that.
other.
You reminded me of that bit where it's like they confront Clark on his identity as a trio, and it's like Jimmy's like, I knew. He's like, I'm your best friend, Clark, bro. Like, he was like, when you opened, I knew the day we went to college together and you broke the door off the handle. And he's like, wait a minute, you told Lois before you told me, even though Jimmy knew before Lois because that was a cool rapport.
Yeah. Oh, the banter and the conversation is so fluid and real. And the humor between all of them is such a good, like, I feel like for a cartoon, this is such high level. I feel like it's been put together really well, and I found it really captivating and enjoyable to watch, and I just think it was great watching all of it. I was so into this whole show, and I wanted that intro music to be like longer. I really,
it's very it's got a nice energy to it. It's like Saturday morning cartoon in a very respectful way. Like it's a theme, like it's gets you pumped for the show, like when X-Men used to come on or Spider-Man back in the day.
Oh yeah.
It gets you. It's a good lead into the show. That's important when it comes to a theme song.
Was it? This is made by Adult Swim, who have done various other sort of. I guess some of it's more teenage, and then some of it's kids, but also some of it's adult, like Rick and Morty. So
adults.
These people know what they're doing.
Yeah, they brought us Cowboy Bebop, bro. Enough said.
Oh, was it Robot Chicken?
Robot Chicken, yep.
Yeah. So I feel like these people know what they were doing. They went into this with people that have got a historic credibility in putting together some really good, strong animated adult shows as well as kids and teenage shows, and it works. Characters work, the dialogue works, the animation works. Like you just said, though, it's not a must watch, but if you like stuff like this, you'll enjoy it. And if you're a Superman fan, you'll like it as well. I think it's a different riff on Superman than maybe we used to. But if you just
my bad, go on.
I was going to say, like, but if you're one of these people who wants to consume everything Superman, you'll enjoy it.
I beg to differ, just because I feel like there's so many people who cannot get behind the visual, even though anime is like one of the ever growing things every year. I feel like anime gets bigger every year. There's certain people of a certain era who cannot get behind the visual aesthetics of anime, or they just don't want to give it a chance. I know for a fact there's probably Superman fans who are like, yeah, it's Superman, but I don't want to check it out. It's anime. I don't really like that.
You need to get over that.
No, be open to broaden your horizons, open your mind. But I definitely think that maybe that's not why the show has been universally like taken in, is because like there's some people who can't get behind anime just because it's anime. Like, you know, there's people like that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Like they just don't like that. I mean, to each their own, but
Oh no,
you
no,
know,
I do get it because I have
I'm a
heard some
fan of
people
anime.
say that they won't even watch animated stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I won't watch
Yeah,
anime.
it's a cartoon. I won't. Yeah.
No, yeah, I'm not. It's a cartoon. Like, I remember to shift away from this slightly, you know, the Spider-Verse movies. I've had conversations with people about how utterly brilliant they are. No, I won't watch them.
It's for kids. It's a cartoon.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I just get it's an animation. I'm like, but no, seriously, you should watch it. It's honestly, the Spider-Verse things are like probably one of the highest bar in terms of animated movies out there. And I've just had people, adults, obviously. No, I'm not watching it.
Mitchell's Reverse the Machines. Like, there's some great. I mean, no,
Oh, I
that's
know that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There, but there's some animated movie. Like, there's some amazing. There's a hella amazing animated movies out there. Fucking one of my favorite anime movies, Paprika, inspired Inception.
Mhm.
You know, there's a lot of. I don't know. I think when people think of animation, they think of children, and that's not always like, even if it's for kids, it can still be amazing because what is it? Inside Out, and
Mhm.
Inside
Oh, that's good
1
as
and 2.
well.
Love those movies.
Oh, I
Fucking
love
those
those
some of my
movies.
favorite movies of the last
I'll
decade.
tell you what, I've put tickets for next Sunday, so it'll be after our next episode. But I booked tickets for next Sunday to watch the new Zootropolis film, and I'm
Nice.
excited to go. I love the first Zootropolis. Even I love the first Zootropolis. Like, not saying there's anything wrong with me particularly, but I'm a guy in his early 40s saying I love the first Zootropolis. I think the first Zootropolis is hilarious.
Good work is good work, no matter how you cut it. When it comes to music, art, how someone dresses, movie shows, it's like, if it's good, it's good.
Look, if it's got a good plot and it's got strong dialogue, what does it matter whether it's Avengers Endgame?
Yeah.
Which I know I've heard other people go, oh, it's, you know, a superhero film. But, you know, actually, we won't talk about Avengers right now. But if these things have got a good story, good plot, good dialogue, good acting, regardless of whether this is a £300 million CGI heavy movie or animated film, or like you just I know you made a little dig earlier, like all these like weird indie films. Like,
I mean, I watch hella indie films myself.
No, I'm just playing. But like, if it's got, regardless of what format it's in, if it's got strong dialogue, etc., you know, good strong story, and it works, what does it matter what the format is?
Right.
And to come back to this animation thing, I finished season 1 of My Adventures of Superman, really enjoying myself and enjoying the chemistry between these characters.
Yeah.
And I think for me, what kept me in this was Lois, Superman, and Jimmy.
The rapport. Yeah.
Yeah, the rapport between the three of them really worked. But to the detriment, unfortunately, of other people that were more there to serve a plot. So I felt like
the Kents, the parents, they were just kind of background elements. You know, they had some moments, but it was really, I guess that is more indicative of the demographic they're aiming for, because kids, it's like at a certain age, because I'm sure they're aiming for teenagers with this cartoon as well, like high school age. But especially high school, your peers those are more important to you than what your peers think are more important than what your parents think generally in the teenage years. You know,
well, I felt like Perry White was just a background character. You know?
Yeah, they didn't really.
Perry was just there was nothing about him. Yeah.
He got an assignment, you know, to kind of breathe down their ass or something, their neck or whatever, ride their ass. He was just there to be a figure. There was no really character. I mean, it could be expanded upon in season 2, but yeah, the focus in season 1 was really just the friendship of like Clark, Lois, and Jimmy, and it worked quite well, because I don't think I've ever really seen. I don't know. They did a great job of giving these, like you said, making them feel like a little family, and it's like you see why these people would grow up to be working with each other the way they do. We're seeing like the origins of like the default status we always see them at, you know, where they're always in the Daily Planet. I was gonna call it the Daily Bugle. They're always at the Daily Planet, fucking, you know, just we're seeing the origins of them working up to that comfortability with each other. So that's cool.
Yeah, I like the fact that this is a early bird kind of, not early bird, an early interpretation of Lois
Yeah.
Lane, and she's very much in her infancy in reporting. She's not the award-winning Pulitzer.
She's figuring out her steps.
Yeah. No, she's taking risks and gambles, and she's already breaking the rules, but she doesn't have the
hard edge, the way the
but also,
vetted.
Well, I was thinking more like the track record for Perry to fully trust her and know that if she goes off track, that she's going to pull in some amazing story. So, yeah. Anyway, but yeah, no, I love the fact that it's, and also the origin of his, and we're seeing elements of his superpowers coming out, and he's even the first time he comes across kryptonite. Yeah, this is like I said. Anyway, look, I want to circle back to the end here. It's a fun show to watch. I enjoyed it, and hopefully others will enjoy it too. So,
I mean, I'm definitely I'm right there with you. I enjoyed it as well. I'm curious to, only because they had such a quick turnaround with season 2. Like, that came out last year. But I don't think that I haven't heard anything with season 3.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't been canceled, has it?
Let me quickly check.
Because it's been like over a year since season 2 premiered, which that sucks, because I'm like, damn, this is actually pretty good. I would like to see where this goes.
A third season was announced in June 2024. Oh, and there's a spin-off.
Oh, My Adventures of Green Lantern. Yeah, I read that. I'm excited for that.
My Adventures of Green Lantern. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that would be cool. I'm gonna be honest, I'm interested in that.
Do you remember the Batman cartoon? Like, it was like the Batman, but it was like a younger take on Batman. Like, Joker had but it was like 2003 to like 2004 to 2008 it ran, but it initially just started on like Batman in his younger years. And it wasn't connected to the previous Batman animated series, but eventually he like got a Robin, he got a Batgirl, he had found like the Justice League, and they built like, it was always called the Batman, but eventually by like season 4 they had like their own, because they were working within restricted realms, but they had built like their own little DC universe within the Batman cartoon. But I always thought it would have been cool if they had done like a spin-off of like their version of the Justice League and the Batman. But it's cool that like they're, like I said, My Adventures with Jimmy Olsen, they could easily do a spin-off show with that. And it's kind of a little bit more lighthearted, fun adventures of Jimmy Olsen doing random shit on his own. Maybe Superman, or maybe it's Jimmy Olsen kind of getting into hijinks and random. It's like one episode he's teaming up with the Wonder Twins, next episode he's teaming up with Aquaman. There's so much they could do with that in terms of spin-off. So I'm glad that they're taking a chance with Green Lantern. I'm curious to see where that goes.
The Batman's familiar, but I hadn't seen it.
It was really good. That and Spectacular Spider-Man both were like, those were like.
Oh, I love Spectacular Spider-Man.
They don't get enough. They had great storylines. That I would throw the Batman in the same vein as Spectacular Spider-Man. If you love Spectacular Spider-Man, you'll love the Batman.
So, by the way, just when I was looking at this spin-off for Green Lantern, it says it's going to focus on Jessica Cruz.
Interesting. Okay. I can respect that, as long as it's not Hal Jordan.
And it's meant to be set at the same time as My Adventures of Superman, and will expand that universe.
Interesting.
I mean, I don't know how crossover heavy it would be, but that would be interesting to see that we're getting a mini shared universe. And let's be honest, if that works, then there'll be eventually in My Adventures of Batman and Wonder Woman. You know what, like, people are like, let's just keep making stuff up. So, anyway, overall, I enjoyed it. What would you rate it out of 5?
I would give it. I give it a solid 4. A solid 4 out of 5. Just like same way what I was talking about Rob Pattinson's film, The Batman, earlier. That's a amazing, great film in many aspects. I think I graded that about a solid 4. I don't think it's, a 5. I think is we get a 5. That's something that's gonna affect maybe everybody. If I give out 5s carelessly sometimes, but a 5 should be something that is like anybody in any walk of life can watch this and get something from this. It's gonna be legendary. It's gonna stand the test of time. I don't think the Batman is gonna stand. Don't think it's gonna be legendary. It's necessarily stand the test of time like others. I kind of view that as this, but like you said, it's still solid. But it's not gonna be the definitive take on Superman, or like I don't know if it's gonna be a reference point for years from now, the way they reference the '90s Batman cartoon and the '90s Superman. Even we've had a shout out to the '90s Superman cartoon within this with the Mixelpick episode, where he's changing him into sort of like as a crab Superman.
He changed into that Superman.
Yeah, so it's like that. That speaks volumes of how legendary iconic.
I thought that was cool sequence actually when he flicked him into different
the animation.
Yeah. I thought that was cool.
But I think it's cool for what they're doing, and it's we said this earlier. It's way more self-aware than I was expecting, or it has any right to be. And I really dig how they're, because sometimes it's just like they'll put out a cartoon and they tell a basic average story that we've seen, like we know this mythology, we've seen this a million times. Like a good example of even with the romance, they just kind of jump into that. They're picking and choosing certain bits to make their own universe from the overall. They're picking and choosing bits and pieces from the overall Superman mythos to create their own unique universe, and that's cool because they didn't have to do that. They could have just put out a run-of-the-mill Superman cartoon, but they're trying to create something different. So I think it's a solid 4 with it could room to grow with.
I think the thing is, when you rate these things, you have to look at what you're actually rating.
Yeah.
Like I know you have ribbed me many times over the years how I said I enjoyed Madam Web, and I said yes, but it's to do with expectations. I went in there with low expectations. I went in there thinking I was watching a Sony superhero film, so I went in there expecting a 2 out of 5 level film. Don't get me wrong, it's probably, for me, it's probably like a 3 out of 5, a 3 out of 5 or whatever. But I walked out of there thinking, do you know what? It was all right. I didn't hate it because I went in there expecting it to be terrible, so therefore I went in with low expectations. So we've never reviewed Madam Web on here.
Oh man, I don't know if I could bring myself. Man, I would be shit talking that movie the whole time, man. I'm just sitting here thinking about. I was like, you had a good time watching them not dress up in costumes until the very end of the movie,
No, look, you can pick holes in it. Yeah, that was like, maybe one day we will. Right,
One
okay.
day, yeah.
But so when it comes to rating this, I'm with you, a 4 out of 5. But if you were obviously comparing this against, like, I don't know, June or something like that, they're not comparable things to, but on its own, I'd give this a solid 4 out of 5. I think it was a really well done show, and I'm actually really looking forward to watching the second season.
Same here.
We're not gonna have time this year to pick up season 2, so we will go into next year and we'll come back to season 2. However, our next episode, we will review all 4 episodes of Eyes of Wakanda. You can also follow us on social media. We're Geeks Unleashed everywhere. Actually, you made me realize something, Steph. Are you doing anything this week at all?
Oh, for Thanksgiving?
Well, no, sorry. Content-wise, are you on anyone's show?
Yeah. I know you guys don't say it's a state thing.
Well, we can come back to Thanksgiving, but yes.
No, I was like, how thoughtful, Mark, because I know they don't celebrate Thanksgiving over there.
No. I wanted to ask you about Thanksgiving, but I meant content-wise.
In an hour, I will be over at Pop Culture Philosophers, and we will be, for anyone watching this live, but we've been covering the Lord of the Rings trilogy last couple weeks, and we are on the last one. 4 hours of epicness, man. And then I forget what movie we are covering this week over at Blood Splatter Chatter.
Something horror-wise.
Horror, yeah, always a banger horror-wise. But we were tossing around a few ideas. I don't know if it's a double feature out, but check it out. We will be going either tomorrow or Wednesday. I think no Wednesday. We're going Wednesday because me and Vern talked a little bit earlier, and we're intending to go tomorrow, but we changed for Wednesday. Thanksgiving on Thursday. And I think I'm pretty sure we're doing something Friday.
You normally go on Thursday, don't you?
Yeah. That's why we're the whole moving around the days. Yeah.
Because my wife said to me, "Remember, it's Thanksgiving this week. Remember, it's Thanksgiving." And I was like, "Thanksgiving's Thursday, isn't it?" So,
shout out for her remembering that. Yeah. Thanksgiving definitely. I won't be doing much, but it's filling my belly, man. I just looking forward to just eating and being lethargic.
Is there anything you're thankful for?
Oh, many things.
Is that something you do on Thanksgiving, Sal? Something you're thankful for?
Not out loud. I mean, not for me in particular. I kind of keep things to the chest. But I don't know if there's people. That's not something my family practices. And maybe there's others that do. Like, I'm thankful for this, and they sit around the table. But no, I don't. I think you just kind of enjoy good company and kind of. It's more of an introspective thing. Be thankful on the inside. Think about all the things you should be thankful for. Appreciate it. But of course, always my son in particular. Then my little mini me. He's just the coolest little kid I know. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think you're right. Be thankful for family. And be thankful for to be honest,
and
thankful for all of this kind of stuff. People like yourself and all the people that we've met while doing shows like this. Over the last 5 years. It's been amazing. But okay, so if you're listening on your favorite podcast platform, please remember to 5-star review, share with your friends. If you're watching on YouTube on the rewatch, please still like, subscribe, comment. If you watch Superman, actually, please leave a comment below on anything that you've enjoyed from
tell us your
one.
thoughts on I'd love to hear what other people thought about this.
Season 1,
yeah.
Cool. All right. Yes, and you're right. We'll be back on Friday. Well, we'll chat about Eyes of Wakanda, and we'll definitely be back next Friday. There should be no problems.
Yeah, we're back to the regularly scheduled programming.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. We will see you on Friday.